Tonight I wanted to speak to you all about life on Sanibel. Well, I'm sorry, Walt is a joker. He rearranged the letters. Let me fix it here.
Oh, I can't believe that. Oh my God.
Walt, don't ever do that to me again. You get me in trouble.
Walt didn't do that.
I'm sorry.
Walt didn't do that.
I'm sorry.
My fault, Walt. They're not going to get any better than that. Now let's get started again. I want to talk to you tonight about life on Sanibel. And you have to admit that lately life on Sanibel has been a bit topsy-turvy here. A lot of people I know have been trying to blame it on Councilman Redding. But no, it's not fair. It's not fair, because say what you want about Andrew Redding, he has this town moving. As a matter of fact, everybody I know is thinking about moving. Actually, one of the casualties in all this topsy-turvy stuff going on has been Gary Price, our city manager. Gary's a good friend of mine. He's not here tonight, but I spoke with Gary this morning, and he wanted me to let you all know he has applied for a new job. He said he saw an ad where they promised complete freedom, where they wouldn't meddle in his affairs, and they offered him job security. So Gary told me he's applied for the job for the director at the Pirate Playhouse. Let's see what else we have here on these charts. I don't know how these are going to work. I'll try it one more time. Next one we have here is, since in a political vein, I'm going to try this one to see if you can all read that. Can everybody read that?
Yes.
You know what that is? It says ho 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 and a bottle of rum. It's Marion Barry's 4 favorite things. Marion Barry, the mayor of Washington, D.C., smoked crack, went to prison, and was re-elected mayor of Washington, D.C. You can say whatever you want about him, but he will go down in history as the only man ever to ride in an inaugural parade in a car that he made the license plates for. I don't know how many of you saw this in the news the other day. Elizabeth Dole is contemplating running for president. Did you see that? You all see that?
Yeah.
Now, out of curiosity, how many of you here think a woman president would be a good idea? By applause. I agree. I totally agree. I think it would be a great idea. The biggest advantage right away would be we wouldn't have to pay her as much. Okay, well, moving right along then. Where's Jay? She said, don't tell that, they'll turn on you. She told me that. Let's try something else. Community art. When I was a kid, I don't know if they have this nowadays, but when I was a kid, they used to have what was called community art. And that was where one student would come up and draw a picture, and the next student would come up and add to it, and you'd keep adding into it until you had a picture. I used to always get in trouble in school for this. And I can remember the first time a little girl went up to the board and she said, "That's a man walking." And the next student came up and went, "That's 2 men walking." And I came up afterwards, and I went, "That's 2 men walking abreast." Of course, I got in trouble for that, but not as much trouble as I got in for this one. When the first student went up and said, "That's a house." And the next one came up and went, "Well, that's the door to the house." And we were in Maryland, it was cold, so the next student went up, "Well, here's snow on the roof of the house." And then the next student said, "Well, then the sun comes out and melts the snow." And I, of course, got in trouble when I went, "And that's my father bending over to pick up the soap in the shower." We better get rid of that.
Pick up the soap and the
But really, I do want to talk about life on Sanibel. Sanibel is a great place to live. I love it here. A lot of people always tell me what makes Sanibel great. They say it's the beaches, it's the wildlife. No, it's not. It's the people. And don't let anybody tell you different. It's the people that make Sanibel a great place. It's a city that runs on volunteerism. Everybody's generous. When they're asked, they give of their time, money. It's a great place, and it's the people. Now look around the room tonight. Tony Lappy before, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a man that stood up and thanked everybody for helping on the miniature golf tournament. Tony did that whole thing himself. I would give Tony a round of applause, because Tony does do that miniature golf tournament himself. He puts in a lot of time, a lot of effort. Now, we all know Tony's a very wealthy man. But what you may not know is that his fortune can be traced directly back to his grandfather. His grandfather who emigrated to this country from Italy at the turn of the century. And there's a man that came to this country and made a fortune. He only knew 3 words of English. Stick 'em up. Right, Tony? I don't want to say Tony's got a mafia background. I don't want to say that. He did tell me when he was growing up, in the Christmas pageant, he always got to play one of the 3 wise guys. But Tony, thanks for the miniature golf, and we appreciate that. I look around the room, I have a lot of other friends in here tonight. My friend Marty Harity. Marty, stand up. Good friend of mine. Now Marty is the owner of the Island House Restaurant. Have an applause for Island House Restaurant. And actually, he even gave me the shirt to wear tonight, which I did, Island House Restaurant. So I'm giving him applause. And I was trying to think what I could say that would be really nice about the Island House. So I guess I want to say the Island House Restaurant, they did not provide the food this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it. Island House Restaurant. All right. Seated next to Marty is Brenda Harity. Brenda's his wife. Brenda's another one of the great people on Sanibel that makes this place great. President of the PTA 2 years in a row for Brenda. Let's hear that. Now, Brenda is a very, very intelligent woman. She graduated from the University of Tennessee. And Marty told me what impressed him most about Brenda was that she was the first woman at the University of Tennessee to make Phi Beta Kappa. One at a time. There's another great person here. I thought he would be here tonight, but he's not, and that's Dick Minch. And I don't know if you all know Dick, but there's another guy that puts in a lot of time for this island. This year was the 25th anniversary of Little League. And we had a big award, and we named the field after Dick, and it's great for the kids, and Dick's been there the whole 25 years. Now, I don't know if you know Dick or not, but those of you that do know him know that Dick is the most chauvinistic man ever. Yeah. He really is. Yeah. As a matter of fact, he once told me he thought the greatest invention of all time was the contraceptive sponge. Because he thought that meant when they were done, his wife could get up and do the dishes. Sanibel's also known for its artists. We have a lot of famous artists that live here. Bea Pappas over here. She's a great artist. If you know Bea, she does great work. I was going to tell this story, told her the other day that I had good news and bad news for her, that a guy came into the gallery when I was there, and he was looking at her paintings, and he said, if this artist were to die soon, would her pictures be worth a lot more? And they told him, yeah, and he bought all her pictures. And she said, well, what's the bad news? I said, it was your doctor. But another great artist that we have are Barney Bauer, ladies and gentlemen. Barney got up earlier and told a joke. That was great. Well, actually, Barney's sort of an artist, because actually right now he's drawing Social Security is what he's doing right now. But Barney, how old are you now? 81? 81 years old. Barney and I had breakfast last week at Jerry's. Now, I don't want to say Barney's old, but Barney ordered a 3-minute egg. They made him pay in advance. While we were at breakfast, Barney was telling me, he said, Steve, I got to tell you, 81 years old, I can't believe it, my penis died. He said, 81 years old and my penis died. Can you believe it? And I thought, well, geez, I'm sorry, Barney. I didn't know what to say. I said, I'm sorry. The next day, I see him walking around. He's got his fly unzipped and his penis is hanging out. And I said, Barney, what are you doing walking around like that? Are you crazy? And I thought you told me yesterday your penis died. He said it did. Today's the viewing. A couple other friends of mine over here, I want them to stand up. Billy and Sally, ladies and gentlemen. Billy Kirkland, Sally Ferguson, very good friends of mine. I've known them since I moved here, probably one of the first people I met. And the happy announcement is after all these years of going out together, they are now engaged. Billy has proposed to Sally June 5th. They're getting married. You're all invited, by the way. June 5th. But ever since I've known Sally, she's been looking for a hard-working, honest, good-looking man. And I guess Billy figured he better hurry up and marry her before she finds one. But I was talking to Billy the other day because he's going to be going through a lot of changes soon being married, and he and I were discussing that.
Yeah, really?
We were talking about the differences between being married and being single. And I told him that when you're married, you can look forward to start putting on some weight. Because married guys generally put on weight and single guys stay slim. And the reason for that is a single guy goes to the refrigerator, doesn't see anything he wants, he goes to bed. The married guy goes to bed, doesn't see anything he wants, he goes to the refrigerator. I also told him another difference that he has to look forward to is when you're single, you lay up all night thinking about what she said. And when you're married, you fall asleep before she finishes saying it. I wish them both lots of love and lots of luck, and I make jokes about being married, and I really shouldn't, because I am very happily married, and that's because I am married to the most beautiful woman in the world.
You're right.
Stand up, Manny, please stand up. She is the greatest, and I do love her. And you have to give her credit, not only for putting up with me, but the fact that she puts up with a man. And all you women in the room here know what that is, to try to put up with a man. And one of the biggest differences I've seen between men and women is that, and I don't know why it is, but men fart. Let's face it, that's all they do is fart. And women, I never hear women fart. But guys, back me up on this. The reason men fart and women don't is because the women don't keep their mouths shut long enough to build up any pressure. I make jokes about my wife, but we do get along well. Sometimes we don't communicate too well. Like the time I told her that black underwear really turns me on. So for a month, she didn't do the laundry. Other night, we're lying in bed, and she says to me, "Whisper something dirty." So I went, "The kitchen." But she's working out all the time. She looks great. I'm really proud of her, and she's really looking great. She lifts weights, she does aerobics, the whole thing. She keeps trying to get me to go to the gym. I can't seem to bring myself to do it. I just don't like it. She says, "Why don't you come with me to the gym?" And I said, "Well, I figured I'll stay out here and do my workout in the bedroom. It's where I find the most resistance anyway, so I'll just stay right here." She's trying to get me to lose some weight, but
Let me sit there.
what I do is I kind of wait till I blow up and need to lose a few pounds, and then I have a very special diet that I go on. Some of you may have tried it. You're allowed to eat whatever you want, but you have to eat it with naked fat people. And I tell you, the pounds, they melt right off when you have to do it. I'm also taking taking vitamins now. She has me taking vitamins, which I've never done before. And I can't swallow those big multivitamins or whatever, so I'm taking these Flintstones chewable vitamins. I think I'm feeling much better, and I can even stop the car with my feet now. So I'm really enjoying the vitamins. There's another very special person here this evening that I want to introduce and have her stand up, and that's my mother, Estelle Greenstein. Give her a hand. My mother is a stand-up comedian, Houston, Texas. My father's an attorney. So you can see I was just an accident waiting to happen. But I'm very glad she's here, and she raised me great. And while she's been here, we've been reminiscing about growing up and what it was like. And I told her I remembered the time when I was 3, and she gave me my toaster as my first bath toy. I remember that. And I told her I remembered when I was 8. When I was 8 years old, my mother thought it would be a good idea if I spent the summer visiting my grandparents. And I got to tell you, to this day, I still hate cemeteries. But she's a very good Jewish mother. She's great. And actually, she told me she just got called for jury duty again in Houston. She's going to go. Hopefully it'll turn out better than the last time she went to jury duty. They had her send her home because she kept insisting that she was guilty. Her relationship with my father was great. They had a great relationship. I can still remember the time my father came home from work one day, and he told my mother he needed more space. So she locked him outside. We remember that. My father couldn't be here with her. He's very sick. He's back in Houston. He has a very rare blood disorder. Shouldn't joke. But my mother told me the story when she took him to the doctor for his examination. When it was over, the doctor called her into his office and said, "Mrs. Greenstein, I have to tell you, your husband is a very sick man. He has a rare blood disorder that when combined with stress could be fatal." She said, "Well, what should I do?" He said, "Well, when you go home, don't give him any stress. Be nice to him. Don't burden him with your problems. Don't give him any work around the house. Make him all his favorite meals. Make love to him whenever he wants. No stress." So they're riding in the car on the way home, and my father said, "So what'd the doctor say?" My mother looked at him and said, "He said you're going to die."
That'd be about what I do, right?
Like I said, my mother does some stand-up, and the one line that I want to steal from her act that I love, and I've tried this and it works and it's great. Next time you're in the grocery store, although don't try it at Bailey's. Try it at Publix or Albertsons. Don't try this at Bailey's. It doesn't work. But next time you're checking out, and the cashier said, "Would you like paper or plastic?" You say, "It doesn't matter, I'm bisexual." And you get some good reactions when you do that, but that's her line, and I love that. And I'm glad she's here, and I love you, Mom. I really do. It's good to see you. Just got back from Las Vegas. Friends of mine, we went to Las Vegas, and flying out there, I was in the airport. I noticed they have all these new airlines I've never seen before. I saw ATA and Royal and Spirit and all these airlines. And so they even have an airline now for people over the age of 70. It's called Intercontinental. I don't know if any of you have ever flown that or not, but tell a story about my friend Bob Sandin. He and I went together. Bob's wife Susan and Mandy and I, the 4 of us, went to Las Vegas. We stayed at Bellagio. Beautiful, beautiful hotel. $1.6 billion it cost. It's beautiful. When we checked in, we decided that since the girls were going to be getting up early and going shopping and having breakfast, and the guys wanted to stay out late and gamble, we decided to put the girls in one room and the guys in the other room. We thought we'd try that, it'd be different. And it worked out fine until the next morning. When I woke up, and I don't know if it was the mountain air or what, but I looked down and I saw the biggest erection I've had in 20 years. And I grabbed hold of that thing and I said to Bob, "I'm going next door and wake up Mandy." He said, "Do you want me to go with you?" And I said, No. He said, "Well, then you better let go of my penis."
told
So
him.
what night are you free?
Baseball.
I've never heard that before. But,
You gotta go back and tell the baseball
we
joke.
did have some fun out there.
Which one's that?
Poor Bob.
Oh,
This is a true story. When I was out there, it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was coming upstairs from the casino. Mandy was sleeping. I thought I'd be a nice guy and get some coffee. So the coffee shop wasn't open, so I had to go to the bar, one of the bars they have on the casino floor, to get coffee. And I'm standing there kind of on the side, and I ordered the coffee from the bartender. You had to go get the paper cups. And I look over, and I noticed there was a hooker sitting about 3 seats down. So I'm trying to, not make eye contact. And finally I hear, hi. She said, what's your name? Joe. Yeah. I said, what do you do, Joe? I said, I'm an attorney. You know, that means between the two of us, there isn't one thing we wouldn't do for money. Las Vegas, well, basically was a disaster gambling-wise. My brother lives out there, and so we were visiting him too. And he let me borrow his car. I drove over to the MGM Grand. I played 21 for 3 hours, and I did not get hit with a blackjack until I was in the parking lot getting the car. That's how bad I did in Atlantic City. I grew up in Baltimore, and I went back to Baltimore in October. It's amazing when you've lived here for a long time and you go back and you see the difference between living in an urban area like I was used to and living on Sanibel. So much different. Actually, it was kind of bad. When I was in Baltimore the last time, I was attacked by 3 gay men. And it was really pretty bad. 2 of them held me down, while the other one did my hair. It was quite an experience, I have to admit. The other thing that's really different about Baltimore, I guess any urban area, is the way the neighborhoods change. There's so much change going on in neighborhoods. You don't really see that here. And one of the saddest things I saw when I was back in Baltimore, Mount Zion Synagogue, used to be a famous synagogue down on Monroe Street. That neighborhood has changed completely. I was down there this time. Mount Zion Synagogue is now a methadone clinic. True story. And it was really sad, really sad. I felt a little bit better, though, when I found out that they've retained some of the vestiges of when it used to be a synagogue. They will not give out the methadone until there are at least 10 junkies in the clinic. Now, I just wanted to tell that joke to see if I can find out who the Jews are. I saw a couple people who laughed. I know they're here. And I only do that because I knew there'd be a few here. Because I remember when I first moved here to Sanibel 7 years ago, things have changed completely. When I first got here, I said to somebody, where do the Jews hang around here? Anyway, you see that tree? And now, here it is 7 years later. We have our own synagogue on the island. We've gone from 10 members, God's honest truth, we have 229 members in the synagogue here on Saturday. As a matter of fact, it's so bad that on Friday nights when service is let out and all the cars come out onto Periwinkle at once, the police now refer to that as yidlock. That's how much we've changed.
Not gridlock, yidlock.
Another sad thing I saw back in Baltimore. I was going into a grocery store one day, and out in front, they do it daily. They sit around and sell and ask for money and stuff. They had that back in Baltimore. I'm walking into the grocery store. There I see Rabbi Davis, who I knew when I was this big. And he's sitting at the table, long table, just like this. He's sitting at one end. He's all disheveled. His hair's a mess. He's a shave. He looked absolutely terrible. And in his collection plate in front of him, a couple of pennies, nothing. And sitting at the other end of the table is a priest. He's got a starched collar, dressed well, impeccably groomed, looked great. And people are coming up and they look and they go and they're giving them all the money to the priest. And it really upset me. And I went up to Rabbi Davis. I said, Rabbi, you're breaking my heart here. I got to tell you, you're sitting here, you look like a mess. Why don't you go home, clean yourself up, shave, take a shower, put on some nice clothes, come back, and maybe people will start giving you some money. And he looks at me, and he looks over at the priest, and he goes, Herschel, look who's telling us how to do business. People are always always asking me to tell a little bit about myself, so I guess a little bit of history about myself. I heard Walt say he went to Earlham or Earlham College. I went to Dickinson College. Dickinson College, it's a small liberal arts school in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. It's where I met Mandy. And actually, before I met Mandy, I went out on a date with Judy Heimlich while I was at Dickinson. Judy's great-grandfather was the man who invented the Heimlich maneuver. Now, I didn't know that until when our date was over and she hugged me goodnight, a big piece of meat came flying out of my mouth. That was Judy. While I was at Dickinson, I came quickly to the realization that my liberal arts degree was not going to be enough education for me. And I realized that when I saw that people with engineering degrees were asking, how does it work? People with a science degree were asking, why does it work? And people with accounting degrees were asking, how much does it cost? And people with liberal arts degrees were asking, would you like fries with that? So I knew that I needed to get some more education. So I decided to go to law school. I borrowed $10,000 from my father to go to law school. And I got my first case when he sued me to get the money back after I graduated. Now I live on Sanibel. I'm on the planning commission, as people said. I have a lot of time at home. I'm retired. I spend a lot of time on the internet. I don't know any of you here of Amazon.com. I'm like addicted to Amazon.com. I love it. Books, music, whatever you want. You punch a few buttons, it's at your house in 2 days. It's wonderful. I don't even go to the bookstores anymore. I used to go all the time to Barnes & Noble, but now with this Amazon.com, it doesn't really make any sense. And the last time I went to Barnes & Noble, I love this self-help stuff. I walked into Barnes & Noble and I said to the woman behind the counter, which way is the self-help section? And she said, well, if I told you, that would defeat the purpose. So I marched around, I finally found it by myself, and I bought myself a tape. For $19.99, I bought an audio tape. It's called How to Handle Disappointment. I got it home, I opened it up, and the box was empty.
It's disappointing.
While I was checking out at Barnes & Noble, it was so weird. I'm getting ready to pay for the tape, and I look down next to the register. They sell bookmarks, $1.79 for a bookmark. And I thought, why not just use a dollar bill and save the 79 cents? Why would you pay $1.79? When I go to Barnes & Noble, from there I go to the mall. Now, at the mall today, it's unbelievable. Everywhere I walk around, people are wearing designer shirts. Everybody's got a shirt on it that says something. Polo, Ralph Lauren, Tommy, Just Do It. I was walking in Edison Mall last week. I saw a big fat lady wearing a t-shirt. It said, Guess. I went up to her and I went, $2.60. I think I'm going to have to end it right here. We ran a little late, and actually I'm not really feeling well. I'm not feeling that well, to be honest with you. I went to the doctor last week. I've been really constipated. It's been bad. I mean, it's awful. I don't know if you've ever been. It's awful. And I went a week ago, and he prescribed some suppositories for me. And I went back to him this morning, and I said, Doc, I'm not feeling any better. It's not helping. He said, well, aren't you taking the suppositories? I said, of course. What do you think? I'm sticking them up my ass? You guys have been great.